ever wondered, why don't I have more? God gave me all these promises. People prophesied to me that I will be successful, that I'll be having all this money, that I'll be a millionaire, or I'll be making the income that I desire. And it has yet to come to pass. If you have ever wondered that, and if you are currently wondering that, then stay tuned. Hey you guys, so welcome to my channel, Davina's Faith. It's Davina here, and today I'm going to be talking about stewardship. Stewardship is known as and I have my notes right here, so if you see me looking down, that just means that I'm looking at my notes. Stewardship is known as the job of supervising or taking care of something, such as an organization or property. So stewardship is just like taking really good care of something that's very important, that's something that's very valuable. You could have a business, an organization, some type of property, whether it's money or a home that you acquired. Taking care of that is stewardship. So a lot of times, and let me go to the next thing that I have. But I just want to point out that a lot of times before we could get to the big things, we have to take care of what we have now. And I'm going to go into that a little bit later. I'm just trying to stick to my notes because I want to touch on everything that I've, decided that I want to touch on. I might be a little bit spontaneous in this video. That's just normally how I flow. I could be talking about one thing and then something comes into my mind and I feel like I need to talk about it. Just try your best to follow me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Stewardship is important because we have to demonstrate capability of caring for something before we may get to what we really desire or for more of what we desire. So you may not have exactly what you want right now. You may be living in a studio apartment and you desire a 2-bedroom apartment or a home of your own, and you may not have that. And while you don't actually necessarily desire that one studio apartment, just be grateful for it for the time being. Be grateful that you have your own place right now, and you could be living with somebody else, or you could be in a worse situation, or you could just be homeless. Be grateful that you have that place and take care of it the best you can. It may not be what you want, like I said, but just take care of it. Make sure you pay those bills on time. Make sure that you're keeping it clean. You're just doing everything to take care of it. And this is not a manifestation video by any means. If you're getting that type of vibe, or you're thinking that in your mind, it's not a manifestation video. But the Bible does talk about manifestation. It's not just a law of attraction type of thing, a new age law of attraction. But the Bible and the Word does talk about manifestation in a good way, that we can manifest things according to the Word of God with certain guidelines and principles. You're not supposed to try to attract, say that, okay, I want this man and I'm going to use the law of attraction to get this man. Nothing like that. And you're not doing anything that's like divination or witchcraft in any type of way by control. We are not called to control anything or anybody. Even God himself, he doesn't, as himself being a being, and we're human beings, he doesn't even control us. He'll tell us the way that he wants us to go. If it's a desire of his to have us go a certain way, to do a certain thing, he'll tell us and he'll tug on us, but he will never force us. He will never control us. He did not create us to be puppets, but he gave us free will. And just like God gave us free will, how are we to try to control somebody else rather than give them free will? So yeah, that type of manifestation is not right, trying to control somebody or make somebody want you. So this is not that type of video or anything. Sorry, I just felt like I should touch on that. But manifestation is in the Bible with, like I said, certain guidelines and principles. You have to be grateful of what you have now. And I'm going to talk about what the word says. I'm going to paraphrase what the word says. Be faithful with small, and then you'll have the greater things. You'll be able to rule over greater things. And I'm going to read the actual scripture for you guys. Just give me a second. So this is what the word says. And I'm reading the NIV version of the Bible. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. And that's coming from Luke 16:10. So like I said, if you're faithful with the little things, you're faithful with small, it may not be what you want. Over time, you'll be able to be faithful with those larger things. So God, he basically needs to see that we're going to take care of these smaller things first before he can give us something bigger, before he can give us something larger. He needs to see that, sure, he knows everything, of course, but God, he tests us, and he doesn't, like I said, even though he knows everything, he does not have us to be puppets. He gives us free will, so he wants to see what you're going to do, and he's going to test you sometimes, and he wants to make sure that you are mature enough to take care of these things. So if you're an immature person right now, you may not be like immature in a certain way, like, okay, I talk silly and things like that, but you may be immature, like you spend your money on frivolous frivolous things. Sorry, I can't pronounce that word correctly, but you might spend your money on vain things, frivolous things, on things that you don't necessarily need, or overdoing your spending. And if you're doing that, then how can you become a millionaire? How can you have six figures? Or whatever amount of money that you desire, income or a big job? How can you be a ruler of that if you can't even be a ruler of making $25,000 a year, $30,000 a year? How is he going to give you more if you're not even spending your money wisely now? So start demonstrating great characteristics. Start spending your money wiser. And I'm going to touch more on those things in a minute. But I want you guys to listen to this parable. Many people have heard of this parable before. This is the parable that Jesus had told. So I'm going to be reading from Matthew 25 and 14 to 30. And this is the parable of the talents. And back in those days, talents is basically equivalent to money. Like what we use as money was what they used for talents back in those days. Let's read Matthew 25 and 14. And we're going to end at the 30th verse. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. And that goes back to where it says to each his own ability. That goes back to what I was talking about. I didn't necessarily say that God's going to give you what you're capable of, but you have to start off what you are capable of, and he wants to see if you're going to take care of those small things so that you can eventually grow to more capability. You can grow to something bigger. So everybody that he's talking about, these 3 men, they weren't all on the same level as far as stewardship. They all had different capabilities. The first one was the strongest when it came to this and this situation. He had 5 talents, and God gave them, like I said, each to their own ability for what they were capable of taking care of. So they all each naturally had it inside of them, the capability to do right with this. God saw that they were capable of taking care of it. The first one was capable of taking care of the 5 talents. The other one was capable of taking care of the 2 talents. And the last one was capable of taking care of the 1 talent. It was up to them to do right with these talents. So let's go a little bit further. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 more talents. So also he who had 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Where you see where it says, he who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them. So that could be even equivalent to investing in stocks and things like that. A lot of times people that are wise with money, that want to grow money, I would say, and that's like a little bit more mature with money, they want to build money, and they just want more, and they're into money and things. You don't have to be obsessed with money. You don't have to be greedy or be a lover of money, because the love of money is the root of all evil. But you want to do better with money. You want to leave something for your family, a legacy, and you want to help others too with money. Then investing is a good way. So a lot of times that people are more mature when it comes to finances and money, they will invest their money. So you can invest your money in stocks. You can invest your money in ETFs. You can invest your money in property, like do real estate. You can invest your money in a business. You can even invest your money in someone else to see someone else do good, and you'll be blessed for that. So that's what the first person did. They invested their money. It says, like I said, the first person traded with them and it gained 5 more talents. And the other one doubled their money too. So the other one started with the 2 talents and they gained 2 more. So they now have a total of 4 talents. So the first one has 10 talents now. The second has 4, but yet the one that only had 1 talent, even though God saw him as the least, he didn't have everything in him like the other ones did, or he wasn't as strong with money or talents during that time as the other ones were. He did have something in him where he had the capability to do right with that talent, but it was his choice to not do right. He was too fearful. So it says that he dug inside the ground and hid the money because he didn't want to lose the master's money. It says, now after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, you wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you also have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own interest. So take the talents from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and the gnashing of teeth. So you see what the master did. That's just how God sees things too. The way that the master was is the way that God sees us, and the way God treats us. In a way, you see that the first 2 did good with theirs, and then the other one didn't do good. They were too fearful. They were scared. They hid the talents, and the last one that hid the talents, he had the master basically had to check him, like, hey, you could have did way better with that money. You could have invested it with the bankers, just like what we do now. Like, see, like how we are nowadays, what we do with our money, what we can do with our money. And even back then they did the same thing. So the Bible does talk about finances. The Bible does talk about money and stewardship. If you want to know more about money and how to deal with money, you can also read the Bible. There's a lot of good things in it. Don't think that money is just all evil. It's not that. It's just the love of money and how we take care of money and how we see money and materialistic things. But the last one got in trouble because they didn't do anything with their money. They came back with the 1, but they could have done way better. They could have invested that money and gained more. It's better to gain than just stay the same. You do not want to stay the same in life. So yeah, that is the parables of the talents. I'm going to go on to my next topic. Well, my next notes. But like I was saying, like when you invest your money into greater things, to become more successful in life financially, become more financially successful, you will basically grow. So in order to get to those things that God promised you, just know that it won't fall on your lap. You may have received the word from a prophet or from a pastor, or God could have showed you in the way that he shows you through dreams, or just like you got it in your spirit that God wants you to be successful and that he's going to increase your income and your finances. But in order to get that, what are you doing? Like, Are you doing anything to grow yourself? Are you taking care of what you have, like I said? Are you paying your bills on time? Are you spending your money wisely? And also, are you doing things to grow yourself? Are you like reading literature that's going to expand your mind to know more about finances? Are you taking a leap of faith and starting that business or applying for that promotion at your job? I know everybody doesn't want to be a business owner, and maybe you're not called to be a business owner, but are you taking a leap of faith and talking to your manager, your supervisor, your CEO about getting to the next level in your job? Are you doing what you need to do at that job if you have no interest in becoming a business owner, or you're not called to be a business owner? To have the qualifications to even be that person, to be able to even upgrade to a new level in your career or on your job. Are you doing these things? These are the things that will help you to get to that promise. The word also says, I'm going to add the scripture on the screen. The word also says that faith without works is dead. So basically, you can have all the faith in the word that you can have all the faith in the world that you want. It's great to have faith. It's great to be a faithful person and to have faith. And that's one thing that God has instilled in me, to have faith. And that's actually my middle name. But if you don't put in the work, then those things will never transpire. More than likely, it's not going to fall in your lap. And for years, like, I have received prophecies from people, words from God. God has shown me beautiful dreams over the years. Some things that I haven't even done yet that I am trying to do. I'm trying to think about how I'm going to do certain things that God did promise me. But one thing that God, well, lately he showed me that I should have, I did ended up getting it. But one thing was that I had to realize that faith without works is dead. I had to remind myself of that scripture, because I was just waiting for those things to just fall in my lap, for the opportunity to come to me. Basically, I was waiting for something to be presented to me, and then I accepted. It's not like that. Like, God wanted me to do something. He wants us to do something. So you may have received the word, like I said, but if it didn't come to pass, maybe you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Check to see if you're doing any of these things. Are you taking care of your business? And are you doing anything to grow yourself? And are you doing anything, are you taking any leaps of faith? So I had to take a leap of faith and just believe that God was going to provide, and just believe that God was going to bless me with my business. So I did my part, and then God did his part. So you have to meet God halfway. Do your part so he can do his part. He can bless you. Many people that have done this, that are like taking these leaps of faith and that are growing and that are good stewards, people that are good in stewardship, that are good stewards, they may not know the outcome, but they have a form of trust to make these moves. They have a form of trust in God. They have trust in God, and they have a form of faith to make these moves. The word also says that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, and a mustard seed is very, very small, if you have just that little bit of faith, then that's all you need as far as faith goes. Like, all you need is the faith the size of a mustard seed. But of course, like I said, you have to put in the work as well. You have to do your part. So have that faith. Even if you just have a little bit of faith, start with that, but also start putting in some work, and then you'll see progress. You'll see some of those words come to pass. And yeah, you don't want to lose out what God has for you, because if God sends you to a place, for example, he has you to be a certain type of person for a land. He has you to be a Moses, a Joshua, or a David, or something like that. You can lose out on having that if you're not doing what you're supposed to. God will call somebody else to step in if you don't do your part. He can't do that. Keep the faith, stay encouraged, and do what you have to do. Make these moves. I wanted to share this one last thing. I have a ton of notes, but I kind of already touched on it, so I'm just feeling to just touch on this one last piece right here. God did not create us to be stagnant beings. As human beings, God did not create us to be stagnant. He didn't even create the animals to be stagnant. We are to constantly grow. That's part of why we'll never be perfect, but we strive to be Christ-like. Who is perfect? So we'll never be perfect, but do you notice that we are to strive to be Christ-like, to be like Christ as Christians? If you're a Christian watching this video, maybe you're not a Christian, but as Christians, we strive to be like Christ, who is perfect. He was the only perfect being, the only perfect human being. And we strive to be like him. But we'll never be perfect. We just strive every day to be more like that. So that's one sign that we're not called to be stagnant, that we're supposed to always evolve, we're supposed to always grow. So you might have struggled in one area at one stage in your life, and then you overcome that, but then there's something else you need to overcome. So we're constantly always overcoming things, we're constantly growing. We're supposed to constantly do those things until we make it up to God, till we make it up to heaven. And I can't say what it's going to be like in heaven. We just know a few things of how heaven would be. But while we're here on earth as human beings, we're constantly evolving, we're constantly growing, and we're supposed to constantly strive to be more like Christ. Okay, you guys. So I pray that I touched on everything that God wanted me to touch on. I am going to be studying more and more because, you know, I need to do that. I kind of fell off, to be honest with y'all, with doing my work and stuff, being just caught up with things. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this topic on stewardship, and hopefully you guys, if you're somebody that have struggled with understanding stewardship, or you have just struggled with attaining the things that God has for you, the promises of God, then I encourage you to pay attention to the things that I just mentioned. Study the word on stewardship. You can find scriptures, you can find additional scriptures that I may have not mentioned, and just study those scriptures plus the scriptures that I said, and think about the things that I said when it comes to like taking care of what you have now, being grateful, and also making those moves that you need to move. That will help you to grow, and that will help you to eventually get to those promises that God has for you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful to you guys. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.